Today over in New York, and then also over in North Carolina, we're going to be seeing more of the same. Reason being is once again, we're still dealing with this area of low pressure. This will continue to cause that onshore flow. We have an area of high pressure off to the north of that. The difference between the two, yes, we had that steeper gradient out there, and with that, we do have the wind, and it is going to be quite breezy out there. With that, the surf, the rip currents are going to be on the rough side of things, the upside of things as well, and we are going to contend with this through today, but also as we go in through the weekend, unfortunately. So that's what I was talking about off the top here. The winds right now, we're seeing sustained winds up to about 15 miles an hour at this point, but we will have gusts even higher than that as we go throughout the day. We slide further down the coast here, and we're still dealing with more of the same. So this is why we're saying it is not going to be the best day at the beach. Once again, unfortunately, we're looking at the rip current forecast, and it's moderate, it's high, up and down the eastern seaboard, not looking good at all. Once again, we're dealing with coastal flood advisories out there as well. So you're going to have to just be mindful of the water that will continue to rise as we go throughout the rest of today as well, and even into tomorrow. So you're going to really need to keep it tuned to the Weather Channel, because we're going to continue to update you through the weekend. We look at the flood stage, and we do have flood stages for the most part in the moderate and the minor category, but look down off towards Nags Head. That's where we're looking at major flood stage there. In terms of those winds, yes, the winds, the big proponent and component, I should say, in terms of what's been going on. We do have those winds along the coast here, 15 to 20 miles an hour, even as we go through the rest of this evening and then continuing into your Saturday as well. And this is why we're saying even through the weekend, things are not going to be looking that great at the beach. And it looks like even as we go into Sunday, things start to ramp back up a little bit more. So take that into consideration. If you are headed to the beach, just take the board games with you. It looks like you're going to be on the inside of the things, looking out like you have been for the past 2 other weekends. That's going to be the name of the game. Dr. Postel, let's talk about that autumn heat right now.
Yeah, it's not too late.
You see the people driving through the flooded roadways. That's a no-no as well. Please do not do that. Turn around, don't drown. And we do have a cool down out west, and that might be some happy goings for some of you, as we do have this storm system that will continue to work its way on off towards the east. Here's the jet stream, and we do have that big dip in the jet stream there, and that is allowing for that cooler air to come in here from Canada. This is what we're working with on the water vapor, and it really shows you this big trough in this area of low pressure that will continue to work its way in here. We do have that rain just to the south and east of Portland as of now, but we're also going to be working with some snow. Hopefully that put a smile on some of your faces. Some of you might have frowned in the higher elevations. I'll show you that in a matter of moments. But as we go into this weekend, oh yeah, we are going to cool down. Look how far that jet stream is dipping down there. So even in California, you're going to be dealing with some cooler conditions out there as well, possibly some light rain. Sierra Nevada mountains, we can see some snow. Again, the higher elevations, we'll see that there. The light rain will continue to spread on off towards the east. And look at these temperatures. I hope you like them, because we'll have those highs 10 to 20 degrees below average. And then look at the big ridge that's building across the middle of the nation. Yes, that's where Dr. Postel was just talking about the heat across the area there. But in terms of the cool down, yes, we do have winter weather alerts. Is that too soon? Well, there you go. We do have winter weather advisories. We're seeing this for Mammoth Lakes, around Bishop, down off towards Lone Pine as well. So just be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for more rain as we go through the rest of today. Around Medford, Redding's going to get in on this as well. And again, there's the higher elevation snow down off into California. This works its way inland as well. So we're looking at this around Montana and also Idaho. Dr. Postel will be seeing that. But also, we're still watching the tropics.
The tropics are alive.
Stay off the roads if you can. If you're able to work from home today, that's going to be a blessing for you for sure, because we have been dealing with flood warnings going on. We have it right now for the counties of Hudson, Kings, and also Richmond until 10:30. You can see that arrow pointing that. You can see the yellows in that, right? So we've been dealing with about half an inch up to about 3 inches have fallen so far, and we could see up to 1 to 2 inches, possibly maybe even more as we go through the rest of today, because of the fact that we do have the rainfall rates at that. This is what we have as we continue through the rest of today. You continue to watch for the yellows, right? That's some heavy rain coming in. Look at the reds here. So it's like you have waves of the heavy rain that will continue to move through New York, which is not a good thing at all. Watching to see if we get any type of breaks out there. Not really. So as we go into 6 o'clock, still in the heavy rain along 95, 495, 280, 287. The interstates are not good at all. Plenty of ponding on the roadways. We've already been seeing that already with some of the video that we've been showing you. People driving through the flooded roadways. Definitely don't want to do that. It looks like as we go in through the overnight time frame, we might get a little bit of a break around New York then, but after that, we're going to be dealing with more rain in different spots. I'll show you that in just a matter of moments. But right through tomorrow, we could see up to upwards of about 5 inches in some spots. I think that might be more the likely scenario out there. And we can see what's going on right now around Chicopee. This is where we're dealing with some moderate rain coming in, moderate to heavy rain. This is going to be the name of the game here. We timed this out for you, and we can see 384 around Hartford, not looking good. Springfield on the wet side, Providence here on the wet side of things as well. So the rain still continues to come and fall across the area. No real relief, even as we work our way into your tomorrow. We'll start to see some rain in the forecast too overnight around this area. So in Hartford, we can see up to about 3 to 5 inches of rain before it's all said and done. We will be dealing with more of this as we continue through Toms River as well. So that means that it's happening now. It's occurring.
We're seeing a lot of water on the roadways in Manhattan and areas nearby. You're exactly right. Turn around, don't drown, avoid those flooded roadways. Yeah. We've got a lot still yet to come. Lynette, thank you very much.
Out there for today into the weekend, Dr. Postel. And others might think that it's rough out across the plains, the upper Midwest here, because we're going to be dealing with some autumn heat. I don't actually think the two go together, especially when you just got into autumn, right? You're just now wanting the cooler air, and we're going to be dealing with highs 10 to 20 degrees above average. It is going to be a rough go of things for sure. We're really going to heat things up. We're talking about numbers that will be in the 90s, and we're going to be flirting with record highs out there as well. That's the culprit. Yeah, that big H there going to continue to build in across the area. We can see the jet stream doing something different than what it was doing back off towards the west. So instead of having the dip, we actually do have that big ridge, that big hump there. And with that, that allows plenty of heat to really move in here from the south. And speaking of the south, look at this as we continue through the rest of today. We're talking about high temperatures in Dallas, 97 degrees, 94 in Houston, Wichita, sweating it out there, 95 degrees, and even further to the north around Omaha, 94. So it is definitely going to be a hot day in autumn. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything for you. It is what it is, right? So we can look at the forecast in Topeka. The record 95 set back in 1952, 97 degrees there. So I actually think that we will start to see that as we go through time. So let's take a look at the Northeast now. We do
weather. The steep changes in elevation can cause large differences in temperature and precipitation. So if you plan on hiking the canyon, be aware the temperatures will be significantly hotter the lower down you go. I have a personal experience with that, hiking from the top where it's like 50 and cloudy, and near the bottom where it's like 90 and sunny and hot. If you're not prepared, you can find yourself in trouble.
Exactly. And also the winter months. I went in January. It's chilly. Don't let it fool you. It's cold there. Right. So just know. Yeah. But fall is one of the best times to visit the parks. At daytime, temperatures are cooler and crowds start to thin out. It's also one of the driest times of the year as well.
Yep.
So we can look at the forecast.
We can. Let's do that. Yeah. And you know what? Every Friday, our passport to the parks keeps the adventures rolling. Huge claws. Oh, my gosh. Well, speaking of claws, the jet stream has some teeth to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So look how low that dip is, or that big, I should say, that jet stream dip is. And that system will continue to work its way on off to the east, Dr. Postel.
It is. And where that dip in the jet stream is, oftentimes you have cooler than average weather. And we've got that in the west. So temperatures are going to be relatively chilly, but we're also dealing with that unsettled weather that these dips in the jet stream also provide.
Exactly. And we can see, again, how far it goes down. So California, we're in on this. The higher elevations, we could see some snow. I said the S word for the first time already.
Well, I can think of lots of other S words that come during winter, but snow is one of them. Yes. And we are going to see, you're right, snow, but really only at the higher elevations. It's still a bit too warm to see it come down a little bit lower.
Exactly. So we do have that cool down. So we're looking at highs that are going to be 10 to 20 degrees below average in a lot of spots.
I know, right? It's chilly. And you know what? I have a feeling that maybe this western winter will be good for our ski lovers in the west.
That's good.
We have winter weather advisories already out for parts of the region in eastern California.
Yes, that goes through tonight right through Sunday. And we break it down for you. We'll start to see that rain pushing in around Medford, around Redding as well. But Dr. Postel, this will continue to work its way inland as well. So it's not just going to stay along the coast.
No, it's going to be moving eastbound. Eventually, some of us in the plains are going to get some rain out of this. It's all associated with that jet stream movement. But look, until then, up to an inch of rain and and higher elevation snows are possible.
Exactly. So we are celebrating the return of fall by east as well, Dr. Postel. So be aware of that. If you are planning on going out, don't do it, because we do have those rip currents that are on the high side, the moderate side, and even as we go into the Gulf side of Florida, we're going to be dealing with the high to moderate rip currents out there as well. We always talk about beach safety because we want to keep you safe here at the Weather Channel. That's what we do. We do have those hazard flags, and when we look at the greens, the yellows, we're pretty much okay. They're kind of like stoplights, right? As we go into the red, we're looking at dangerous. You definitely need to just put a halt on it. And then as we look at the double red flags, that's where we're talking do not swim. A lot of times the beaches are even closed, and you could get fined if you do go on that closed beach. So we can see through Sunday, we will have those downpours. We'll have periods of that heavy rain, those thunderstorms really coming in. So with that, of course, it's going to put down a lot of rain. So we do have that potential right through your tomorrow morning for some flash flooding. So take that into consideration along the peninsula there. And once again, that forecast, we will have a nice mix of sun and clouds for Panama City Beach for today. Over to you, Dr. Postel.
Well, you can stay prepared with the teeting events taking place this weekend.
Oh, yeah. So check this out. It's still a lot to scale to play multiple sports, but, you know, being a fast mover, so that's why we call flash flooding, because it can happen in a flash, you know, but it's just dangerous out there for today.
It really is. And we're not done yet.
No,
we've got a bunch of rain yet to come. So let's look at that. Okay. Lynette, thank you very much. The forecast
time, though, of having all that rain today, this morning, so we'll just keep our fingers crossed for sure. Now, the low pressure system that's developing in the northeast could add insult to injury for some folks living across the coast, and we're going to deal with the gusty winds, and they're fueling the threat for dangerous rip currents, large waves, and coastal flooding. And boy, can you see those large waves off across Nags Head this morning. That's going to be the name of the game. So this is not necessarily just a northeast event that we have to stay away from the beaches. Oh no, we're dealing with this up and down the coast. I'm going to show you that in a matter of moments. There's that area of low pressure. This will continue to bring onshore flow. That onshore flow will continue to bring us threats like that high surf that we're going to be dealing with, the rip currents out there as well. We do have high pressure, low pressure, the difference between the two. That's giving us some windy conditions for today as well. It's going to continue to kick up that surf, and the rip currents are going to pose a problem again up and down the coast. We can see some showers off the southeastern coast as of now as well, but our main threat is what's happening across the northeast. In terms of the winds, yes, we do have them. These winds sustained up to about 15 miles an hour in a lot of spots, and even as we slide down the coast as well. The southeast, we can see the winds sustained about 10 to 15 miles an hour. We'll have more gusts as we go through time. I'm going to show you those in a matter of moments. But in the meantime, you want to go to the beach, right? Well, you can't. You can go, but again, I suggest that you just stay on the beach, look out, and stay away from the waves for sure, because we do have those rip currents. Do not get in the water. That risk is going to be high to moderate for today. Still watching for coastal flood advisories as well, and we're still watching the flooding in terms of the rivers and those gauges that continue to be on the moderate side, the minor side, but we also do have a major flood stage around Nags Head, so that's something that we're going to have to watch too. In terms of the wind gust forecast, I told you I was going to show it to you. Here we go. So we'll have gusts as we go through the rest of today, this evening, about 15 to 20 miles an hour. It looks like things try to calm down a little bit as we head towards your Saturday, the further to the south you go, but then things will start to ramp back up as we go into your Sunday. So take that into consideration around, we're seeing this around Beaufort, around Myrtle Beach as well, Savannah getting in on this, and we're going to continue with the winds trying to slowly subside as we go in through your evening time frame on your Sunday. But all in all, Dr. Postel, it is going to be a windy, dangerous weekend at the beach.
Yes, indeed, Lynette.
It's like this is going to be the scenario as we continue through the rest of today, unfortunately, and even possibly as we go into tomorrow. It looks like we might get a break overnight, but then more rain comes back into the picture. So we do have rainfall reports to talk about. Over the past 12 hours, we could see in New Jersey up through New York, so about 1.5 inches up to over 3 inches across the JFK airport. That's where you have the highest amount at this point. And these numbers are going to continue to go up before it's all said and done, because we're going to have more rain coming in across the area. So rain still to come right through tomorrow. Eye goes straight to that yellow, right? So 3 to 5 inches in the areas here shaded in the yellow coloring. So we're looking at northern New Jersey up through Hartford. We could be seeing this. But then look at the 2 to 3. So this is some of the dark colors there. Some of those areas will be getting in on that. Overall, though, about 1 to 2 more inches of rain before it's all said and done in some of those lighter green colorings there. But again, your eye takes you you to all this yellow and the orange, and it really should, because that's where the heaviest rain is coming at this point. And with that, we actually do have flash flood warnings going on. You can actually see the strike of lightning. So we're dealing with convective activity out there as of now, too. So here's the flash flood warning. This is for the cities of New York, Union City, and West New York. The threat is considerable. And of course, it's considerable because we've been raining for so long. And once again, we continue to have those heavy rain bands come through the area. We're going to continue to watch rainfall rates up to about 1 to 2 inches per hour. Could possibly be a little bit higher than that, too. Let's go to another flash flood warning where we are in the city again, Hampstead, North Hampstead, and Oyster Bay. This goes until 11:15. And within this polygon, you are seeing those yellows there. Again, the heavy rain coming through. So 495, 89, 287. These roadways you do not want to be on at this point. If you're watching from home or if you're watching from work, if you can just hold out and just stand there for a while and let this kind of pass. But the thing is, though, is that we're watching this throughout the day. So when I say watch this pass, Dr. Postel, I'm hoping that we're watching the heaviest stuff pass as we go throughout the day, because we're going to continue in the rain before it's all said and done.
We've had a lot of it.
To change the plans, I probably would do that for today because it is going to be a rough go of things. You can see right here, if I'm not even talking, you know this map looks rough. We do have that flash flood warning. This goes for the counties of Hudson, Kings, and Richmond until 10:30. Lots of rain just continuing to filter in. This is going to be the scenario as we go through the rest of today. Well, we might have a break as we go through the overnight into your tomorrow morning, but then more shower activity will occur as we go in through the day tomorrow. So this is what we're working with as we go in through 11 o'clock today, lunchtime, along 95, 495. You can see the yellows, that's some moderate rain. The reds, that's some heavy rain. We're seeing this around Yonkers. We're seeing this around the city as well. And this is going to linger around 78, 287 as we go into 3 o'clock. So you can see that the roads, being on the roads is not going to be a good thing at all. If you can just stay in today, work from home, that is going to be your best bet. We continue to see the yellows and the reds continuing to move into New York, around Yonkers as well. It's like you get out of the yellows and the reds, go into the greens, and then the yellows and the reds come back for you, unfortunately. So rain still to come. This goes right through your tomorrow. We look at those yellows, and we can see that swath of about 3 to 4 there, 3 to 5 in some spots, too. So that's the scenario in Yonkers. Now, what's the scenario around Chicopee, around Providence, around Hartford? Well, kind of more of the same. We could see some of the yellows before it's all said and done. But as of the rain continuing to spread across the area, yes, it will do so. We can see some yellows there around Hartford, 384, 90. Springfield, you're going to be in on this again as we go in through the evening time frame. So we're looking at this around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night as well. And again, as we go in through Hartford early in the morning, here's a live look now in New York where
So we're seeing more and more flights not yet leaving the airport. No surprise with all the bad weather around.
Yeah, and no surprise, things are getting worse before they get better with all this flooding that we're seeing.
Indeed.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit more, Dr. Postel. Okay. We're going to continue to monitor this as we go through the rest of today. That is going to be the scenario that we have plenty of rain coming in. But like I said, we've been dealing with this rain for so long, and over the past 12 hours, look at it stacking up. So we can see JFK Airport coming in about 3.26 inches of rain there. And then we go down to the smaller end of the scale, which is not small at all, in Harrison, New Jersey, coming in about 1.5 inches of rain. Again, this was over the past 12 hours. There's still more rain, unfortunately, to come. And it's unfortunate at this point because these areas don't need any more rain coming in. But we can see right through tomorrow, 3 to 5 inches. The area is shaded there in the yellow coloring. So we're looking at northern New Jersey up through Hartford. We could be seeing this. But then look at all of the other areas here. That's still up to maybe about 1 inch before it's all said and done. Now, remember, we've been raining so much over the past several weeks and today, in fact, that it's not going to take much for flooding and for saturated grounds because we're already on saturated ground. We look at the radar right now. We see plenty of those yellows and those oranges right now. So that's some heavy rain. You can see the polygons there in the green coloring, and in the polygons, you can see those colors, right? So that is some heavy rain coming within these flash flood warnings already. So it's not like sometimes we'll continue flash flood warnings and the rain has moved out, but this is not the case at all. We're not even dealing with light rain coming in. We're still dealing with the moderate rain coming in for places like Union City and also Hampstead, North Hampstead, Oyster Bay. This goes until 11:15. This is a different flash flood warning that I'm showing you at this point. We have a cluster disaster going on across the area at this point in time. So 495 around 82, 87. This is why we're saying stay off the roadways. If you're watching, don't get on the roadway. Try to cancel your plans. Do something different because it is rough. Over the past 12 hours, when we look at the radar estimated rain, again, this is kind of an estimate for you. We've received up to about 3 to 4.5 inches of rain over the past 12 hours. Remember, you're seeing all that heavy rain continuing. So this is just going to continue to pile up. So before it's all said and done, oh yeah, we're going to see a lot of rain out of this. So in 3 hours, Dr. Postel, again, where you look at some of the oranges there and some of the yellows, it will only take about a half an inch to flood in a lot of spots.
Lynette, you know, the region, we need to talk to some folks from the New York City area.
Yeah, we do. So joining us now is WORAM Total Traffic and Weather Network reporter Bernie Viter with the latest on what's happening in the city and the surrounding 5 boroughs. Bernie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate that. So what can you tell us about the flooding and where have you seen the heaviest rain falling? Yeah, well, like you said, it might have caught people off guard where the water is rising and these people don't have anywhere to go. So it's not necessarily that they're driving through flooded roadways. It's just that the water is rising so quickly.
Exactly. And
Bernie Viter, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate that.
That's really good information and a lot of unfortunate rescues and flooding reports coming out of New York City in particular. Now, you can stay prepared.
Don't go out because this is what you're going to be in. A lot of these people were already out and the rain started happening and the water started rising, so there's no choice in that. But you have a choice. Don't make that decision to go out because we have been dealing with plenty of rain over the past 12 hours. We have those rainfall reports. Look at Brooklyn. Close to 6 inches of rain has fallen over the past 6 hours, and these numbers are going to continue to go up. The last time I showed you JFK, we were about 3 1/4, and now we're close to 5 inches of rain falling. So this is going to be the scenario as we go through the rest of today. So actually, before it gets better, it is going to get worse because we do have more rain to come right through tomorrow. So it's not like we're stopping tonight. No, we have more rain in the forecast as we go into your tomorrow. We could see about 3 to 5 inches out there, 2 to 3 we could pick up, and then most of us, you can see in the outer boundaries there, about up to an inch before it's all said and done. So with that said, it's not going to take a lot for us to really see some flooding. I'm going to show you that in a matter of moments too. But this is what the actual radar looks like right now, and it is lit up. We have all types of colors on here, but the colors that really stand out are those yellows and those oranges, those reds. That's the heavy, moderate to heavy rain that continues to fall from the sky. And because it continues to fall from the sky like that, we are going to continue with these flash flood warnings. We have this for Kings, New York, Manhattan. So in the city, we're watching this around Queens as well. And you know, New York, a concrete jungle. So all that runoff is just posing an even worse threat out there. Then we go to another flash flood warning. This is for Kings, Nassau, and Queens, the counties there. This goes until 11:15. I keep showing you these polygons. Within those polygons, you're seeing those yellows. So some heavy rain continuing, persisting, not letting up quite yet. And again, this will be the scenario as we go through the rest of today into tonight. Now let's hop over towards Connecticut, and we can see flash flood warnings here. This is for the cities of Bridgeport, Norwalk, and Stamford. This one goes until 1:30 here. Again, there's the heavy rain coming through. 684, not to the spot where you want to be as of now. We're seeing more of the same around 95. Over the past 12 hours, we've received radar estimated up to about 3 to 4.5 inches of rain, Dr. Postel, and we're still watching some coastal threats out there too.
Yeah, we are. In such a short period in New York City and areas nearby. You know, yesterday afternoon, the Weather Prediction Center highlighted this very area for the excessive rain that we might see overnight. Well, last night and into this morning, they were spot on.
Yeah, and it's remarkable too because it's still coming. We're not even close to being done yet.
Right. We've got flash flood warnings that continue to roll on in. The reports of the water rescues and the water rises in very urban areas continuing through Long Island, New York City, southwestern Connecticut. We're not done yet.
No. All right, Dr. Postel.
Yeah, let's have a look at how much.
Right there for sure, and not the best news if you're going to be headed to the beaches as well. So we do have that low pressure system that's developing in the northeast, and it's going to add some insult to injury for some folks living along the coast. So we do have those gusty winds that are going to fuel the threat for dangerous rip currents, large waves, and coastal flooding. And this is why I say, yeah, it's going to be bad across the northeast, but it's also going to be bad across the southeast as well. So if your plans are taking you to Nags Head, you might want to rethink it. it, or just buy a whole lot of board games and just stay indoors, because it is going to be a rough go of it this weekend. Another weekend. I know you're counting the weekends. I'm counting the weekends for you. This will be the third weekend in a row across the Northeast into New England where it's not going to be the best beach day, best beach weekend, at least for both days, right? So we're watching this area of low pressure. This will continue to create that onshore flow that we have. That onshore flow is going to continue to create the fact that we do have those rip currents, those high waves, and also we have that pressure gradient. So the high pressure, the low pressure, the difference between the two, yes, those winds will continue to funnel in here, and those winds are going to continue to kick up that high surf. So it is going to be rough out there, and this is why we say not the best day for the beaches for today, for your tomorrow, and even as we go into your Sunday. Let's talk winds, shall we? You look at this, you're like, oh, it's not too bad, but it's still gusty. You could see those white caps on the waves, right? So yeah, these are going to continue and to persist. Even the further down off towards the south you go, we're going to be dealing with some gusts now. We can see that up to about 20, 25 miles an hour, and the rip currents are real. So this is what we have up and down the East Coast, moderate to high. This is the scenario, not just the Northeast, but down off towards the Southeast too. And we're also watching for some coastal flood alerts as well. So just know we have those advisories out there. Know that we have those winds that will gust, not necessarily sustain, but we could see those gusts up to about 30 miles an hour before it's all said and done, especially Dr. Postel, as we go in through your Sunday. And so we go from here, but we also have the heat in autumn. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what it was there in New York. And if that's the case, then, you know, what are you going to do about it? But again, that scenario that you just saw, not the best at all. Turn around, don't drown. Let's talk about those rainfall reports over the past 12 hours, because boy, has that rain been adding up. Close to 6 inches in Brooklyn, and we're over 4 inches and a quarter over JFK. That's what it looks like there. Around LaGuardia, we're looking at 3.84 inches of rain. So you get the point. These numbers will continue to go up before they go back down, unfortunately. We're looking at the past 24-hour rainfall at the airport at JFK, and we can see that these numbers will continue to really pile up as we go through the next several hours or so. So we have the 12-hour total 4.55 and that 24-hour total 4.57. So this has been a day that has been a stunner for a lot of us. But again, you're watching us. We're here to keep you safe. So you need to know that we have more rain still to come before it's all said and done. A lot of pockets of about 2 to 3 inches. A lot of us could receive up to an inch more. This goes right through your tomorrow. So it's not like, oh, it's going to be done in a few hours. No, it's not going to be done in a few hours. And we could still see more heavy rain bands moving through the area. When I talk about heavy rain bands, we're talking about the oranges there, the yellows and the reds. And in those oranges, yellows, and reds, they are accompanied by this flash flood warning. So these green polygons, and the counties now for Kings, New York, Manhattan, Queens, this goes until 12:30. The threat is considerable because we continue to have the bands, those heavy bands moving through the same areas. And with this, it is quite dangerous out there. And that's why you see the water so high. It will continue to pile up. We're seeing another flash flood warning for Kings, Nassau, and also Queens. This goes until 12:45. This is radar engage indicated at this point. And then we slide to another flash flood warning. And this is for Connecticut, Fairfield, Westchester, in on this. The counties there, they go until 1:30 in the afternoon. Let's get a live look now, and starting to see that flash flooding out there. We have flash flood warnings, and a lot of them. We'll start you out with Kings, New York, Manhattan, and also Queens. This goes until 12:30. This threat is considerable. We're still dealing with a little bit of the yellows in there. It's trying to dry out some, but still the yellows, so still some heavy rain within that flash flood warning that we're talking about. We have more of the flash flood warnings as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, because more rain is going to continue to fall. So look what's going on. This is the future radar, and I put this into motion, and we can see what happens as we go into lunchtime today and beyond that. Still plenty of yellows that we're seeing. It looked like New York had a little bit of a break, but then we'll start to see more activity trying to move back in. Again, those yellows, those reds, that's that moderate to heavy rain coming in, and then there's that little swath once again. So now we're talking about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening time frame. So you get the point. We're not out of the woods quite yet at all, and we've already seen so much rain since this morning, and close to 6 inches in some spots. So we are really headed upwards on that scale of measurement of some heavy rainfall. So we look at these numbers right through your tomorrow, and these could be more on the modest side of things. It looks about like 2 inches, possibly 3 inches, but I believe that we could see even more than that in pockets. Locally, Hartford, we're seeing some heavy rain come through the area there as well. So along 2044, those interstates, highways, definitely don't want to be on those at all. We put this back into motion, and we can still see more heavy rain coming through Hartford, 384 as we go into the afternoon time frame. So you can see the name of the game is more rain after more rain. We'll be right back. We do have flash flood warnings going on, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. It's just coming down.
It is. Parts of eastern New England, Long Island, nearby New York, getting very heavy rain as we speak. And you're going to have a look at some of those heavy rain and flash flood warnings out there right now.
Exactly. And we've been dealing with those totals really adding up over the past few hours or so as well. We do have those storm reports to talk about. Here we go. So we'll start you out in New York City, LaGuardia. FAA reports that LaGuardia fuel farm flooded and unusable at this time. So lots of reports. Look at Flatbush. Multiple cars stranded with water up to windows on Prospect Expressway at exit 5. So if this hits you hard, know that you should not be out in those waters. It is definitely going to be just really a terrible time this morning, because we do have that rain that continues to pile up out there, and we have more rain to come. This goes through tomorrow, 2 to 3 inches. We can see some pockets there, 1 to 2 inches as well, and then up to an inch overall. This is from Concord all the way down to Atlantic City. So it's not going to be the best time for the beaches once again, unfortunately, if that's where your plans were taking you this weekend, because we do have plenty of rain for today. We have plenty of rain as we go into your tomorrow as well, and then things will start to taper down a little bit more. But this is what we have right now. This is what's imminent. And when I say imminent, we do have that flash flood warning. That means that it's occurring. It's happening right now. And we can go ahead and zoom in, and we have several flash flood warnings to talk about. And in these flash flood warnings, you're still dealing with that heavy rain coming down. So that moderate rain, you're looking at this one for Kings, New York, Manhattan, around Queens. This goes into 1230. And this is why this is, the threat on this is considerable at this point, because we're not really getting a break in the action. At some point, maybe later on this evening, overnight, we may see a break, but then it just starts right back up. And then in other spots as well. So over the past 12 hours, look at the radar estimated rain. We've received up to about 3 to 4.5 inches. Again, this is radar estimated, give or take a little bit. But the bottom line is that you see more rain to come. So again, this is an estimate over the past few hours. We still have more rain on top of that. You add that up, and we're talking about some big totals before it's all said and done. We have flash flood warnings for Kings, Nassau, and also Queens. This one goes for 1245 as well. So this is going to be the story for today, Dr. Postel. We're just going to be inundated with all this water really falling from the sky.
And a lot more yet to come.
East, we will be dealing with plenty of rain continuing across the area. And here we go. I'm going to start you out with the future radar here. We start you out at lunchtime. I click my little magic button here, and then it starts to move, right? So we'll start to see some of the reds and the yellows moving as well. So I just showed you how New York was kind of in a break in the action. Well, we can see more action happening in the yellows and the reds before it's all said and done. So that's why I say you're not quite out of the woods yet. We'll have more rain coming in as we go towards 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We're looking at this around 495. Massapequa, you're going to be in on the thick of things as we go around that time frame too. Look what happens as we go early in the morning around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We're seeing some light showers around Yonkers. It looks like we have a little break in New York. We'll take that. And then we will go ahead and watch for that rain still to come. So up to about 2 to 3 inches. It's looking like in portions of New York and also around Connecticut. Let's start to look at what's going on right now as we look over towards Rhode Island. We're looking around Connecticut, Hartford, some heavy rain still coming in across your neck of the woods as of now. Let's put this into motion and see if Hartford, if you're getting a break and if we're going to get more heavy rain. Yes, you get a little bit of a break, but then we also start to see heavier rain coming in around Torrington. This happens as we go towards your afternoon today. So around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, as your evening commute, it's going to be a rough go around Hartford as well, around Springfield 90. Interstate not looking good, 395 as we go later into the overnight evening time frame. into your early morning. We're seeing this around Providence now. So some places will get a break, but then other places you'll start to see the heavy rain coming in. So that's why I can't say that we're completely out of the woods at this point. Still more rain to come, up to about maybe 1 to 2 inches across the board here around Hartford and Providence. Dr. Postel, over to you.